guys, it's Piper. I'm back. So today we're going to be talking about pharmacy technicians. And if you see a cat running around or you see the camera moving, I'm pet sitting for someone and her cat just loves to be in the room with you. So I am currently a pharmacy technician. I have been a pharmacy technician since around Christmas time of 2014, and I love it. I love doing it. Anyway, so we're going to go through a few things that some people don't seem to know about pharmacy technicians. A lot of people are very surprised by the fact that you don't have to go to school to do it. You do have to have your GED or a diploma or be working towards it, and as of now you have to be 18, at least for the company that I work for. You do not have to have a certification in the state of Georgia to be a pharmacy technician. The benefit of being a certified technician is you can do things like compound medications, you can reconstitute medications, and it helps with our legality. In a pharmacy, you can have a pharmacist, and for every pharmacist, you can have 2 technicians and an intern, or 2 technicians and a certified technician. You cannot have 3 uncertified technicians at any time. So let's start with what you have to do to become a pharmacy technician. I was already hired by the store that I work for under the grocery department. I was a cashier, and I also did some tags overnight, and I ran self-checkout and things like that. Once I figured out that you didn't have to have any certifications or any classes to become a pharmacy technician, I thought that it would be a great experience for me because I had not started nursing school yet, and I heard that, pharmacology was really hard and learning the drugs was really hard, and I wanted to have something close to nursing field that would get me some experience, and pharmacy just fell right into that. To become a pharmacy technician in Georgia, you do have to get a state background check, which requires that you pay money to the state. It is online, and it's about $135, $110, somewhere around there. Let's be serious, it's been almost 3 years since I've done it. I don't remember exactly how much it is, but you do have to pay that out of pocket, and that's your background check. And then you also have to go get fingerprinted. I did that at a UPS store. Once I got fingerprinted, that was $35. So altogether, it was about $150. Might have been a little more. I honestly don't really remember, but the company that I now work for, they reimburse you for those costs. So as long as you get hired with them, you get reimbursed, but you do have to fork out that money ahead of time. Now, every year, every odd numbered year, you do have to get recertified. So for example, this is 2017. I had to recertify this year to be able to continue to work in the pharmacy, which costs $65. However, the company yet again reimburses me for that much, which is great. I love that. Every even numbered year, you do not have to get recertified. So next year, I won't have to get recertified. Okay, so let's talk about the pay. Everybody asks me this. This is the second question I get asked every time people find out that I work in the pharmacy. After, do you have to go to school for that? So the pay where I work, this particular company pays minimum wage to pharmacy technicians. I know that sounds crazy. I know it does, but they do. They pay minimum wage. However, you do get a 5-cent raise every 6 months. Some of our competitors pay more. We get minimum wage. A lot of the companies around us get about $3 higher per hour than minimum wage. Minimum wage here is $7.25 per hour. So at another pharmacy, technicians tend to make about $10 an hour. So the pharmacy that I work at is very much people working there just to get the experience. It is a lot of students. It's a lot of nursing students. Actually, I'm the only nursing student right now, but there has been one other one. And then it's mostly pharmacy students, people who want to get into pharmacy school. They generally work in a pharmacy before they go into pharmacy school so that they do better during their rotations. So, the uniform I wear, I actually did work today in the pharmacy, and I wore this shirt, which is a nice type blouse shirt, pretty conservative, and I also wore some black slacks, and then I wore some compression socks under my pants to help with my circulation, and then I wore tennis shoes. I know a lot of people are like, why would you wear tennis shoes with a dressy outfit? And I'm like, because my feet. Whatever you're wearing, you wear your technician's jacket over it. Mine is blue and it says technician on it, and it's very, very hot. But you wear that and then your name tag, and then I also have a badge reel which has my RDAC in it, which is a barcode that I use to scan onto the computers every morning, which changes with every shift. They don't have a rule about tying your hair up, keeping it down, necklaces, jewelry, nothing really like that. It doesn't really matter as long as it doesn't interfere with your work. Okay, so now we're going to go over the things that a pharmacy technician does. A lot of people don't know what a pharmacy technician actually does. The main thing that a pharmacy technician does is deal with the customers. You do a lot of ringing them up, you do a lot of greeting, you do the answering questions, you answer phones, you answer the phone calls, and if a person has a question that you either can't answer or you're not allowed to answer, then that would be a question you send to the pharmacist. I am not allowed to counsel, and that includes giving my opinion about what medication to use. Because I did not go to pharmacy school and I did not require any schooling to become a pharmacy technician, I have no authority in that department. There's multiple steps throughout the process of filling a prescription. The computer takes the prescription. It may or may not recognize the person. If it does not recognize the person, that's an additional step you add into the process. So that would require me manually going in and looking up that person's name, and if their name is spelled differently or they have a middle initial that the doctor's office does not have, that would mean that I have to type in their name and I have to select them and verify that that is the right person. And then it'll link it to their profile, and then it'll go to data entry. You put in the date, the form that it's written in, whether it's fax or written by hand or telephoned in, one of those things. And then you choose the drug and you type in the SIG code. We call it a SIG code where I work, but it's the shorthand, whatever the doctor wrote. So the SIG codes are things like 1QD, which means one daily, or 1 BID, which is one twice a day, or 1Q46H, which means one every 4 to 6 hours. These are shorthands for the doctor's directions, which are helpful when you work in a pharmacy, because once you learn them and you get good at them, it makes it like 10 times quicker for you to type in the prescriptions. They'll immediately just fly through because you type in the shorthand, the computer changes it into the longhand, and it looks exactly like how the doctor wrote it, which is perfect. So after you do that, you put in the number of refills, and then you choose which type of insurance you want it to go through, whether they have insurance or they have a discount card or something like that. That is all the technician. All that they just did. That's one step of the process. Doing all of that. That's data entry. If their insurance has not gone through without a hitch, it goes to adjudication. I know that's a weird word because I never knew what adjudication meant until I started working in a pharmacy, let me tell you. Even when I was working in the pharmacy, I had no idea what that word meant. I just knew it was a word and I had no idea what to do with it, and I just didn't touch that section. So adjudication is where a prescription goes when the insurance does not work. So let's say, for example, every new year people get new insurance, right? Well, their old insurance is still on file. That's the insurance we're going to try. So you put their prescription through, goes through their insurance. That insurance says, we're no longer covering this patient. their coverage expired on 12/31/16. So at that point you think, that's weird. They must have new insurance. And that's the point where we put a note in or something like that to say, hey, ask this person for their new insurance. There are some other more complicated problems. There are other rejections that include things like prior authorizations. Prior authorization means that the doctor has to contact the person's insurance company to explain basically why this person needs this medication. This often happens for medications like Adderall, for people who are like older, like middle-aged people. Insurances are often like, why are we paying for Adderall for a 48-year-old? They need something else, or they'll want an explanation as to why this person needs this medication. The doctor will have to contact the insurance company and explain their reasoning, and then the insurance company says yes or no to whether they approve or deny the claim. If they deny it, the person's going to have to find another way to pay for it. Their insurance will not pay for it, and therefore that would be a discount card or paying cash or getting it changed to something else. If their insurance company approves the prior authorization, then they're good to go. The insurance will spit us back a price, and then that will be the price of the medication. These often take about 2 to 3 days, depending on how quick the office is. Then it goes to the pharmacist. The pharmacist has to verify that you chose the right drug, the right quantity, the right refills, the right date, everything, the right doctor, and then the pharmacist will decide whether or not it's correct. Once the pharmacist determines that it is correct, it'll go through to product dispensing. Product dispensing is where the technician prints out a label, the same label that goes on the bottle. They take that label, they go to the shelf, they find the drug, bring the drug back, and then they count it. Now, we used to count by hand. For the last 2 years, we counted by hand. Every single prescription. I'm telling you, 360 Chloricon, which are like horse pills, I had to count those. And then in our pharmacy, we had a very small pharmacy. There would only be one technician and the pharmacist at some points. I got stopped 3 times counting 360 Chloricon, and I kept losing my count. So I had to start writing it on a sticky note and putting it there so I could remember how many I had counted. That was ridiculous. But now we have machines that count them for us. They don't necessarily pour it out and pour it into bottles like some machines, but you pour the medication onto the platform, and a camera looks down and reads the number of tablets that are there. The camera then tells you how many tablets are on the tray. So it's way faster once you get used to it. It is way faster to use the machine to count. So after you've counted them out, you pour them into the bottle, and then you have to make sure that they need either easy open caps or they need child-proof caps. This is an important step, because if you put child-proof caps and it's someone who has arthritis, they could have a very hard time opening that bottle. However, if you put non-child-proof caps on there and the person has not signed for them and they do not usually get child-proof caps, if a child or any other person gets into that bottle, the pharmacy is liable. Therefore, you want to make sure that you're picking the right type of lid. So then, after you put the lid on and you put the label on, and let's say, if it's a controlled substance, you count it twice. If it's a very controlled, like if it's a class 4, you count it twice. If it's a class 2, you count it twice, and then you also count the back count, which is what's left in the bottle. And then the pharmacist triple checks your count to make sure that you counted it right. But on class 4s, they generally trust that the technician has counted it right because they initial on the bottle that they have counted it twice. So after you've counted it out, you've put the label on, the pills are in the bottle, the lid is on, you stick it in a basket and you put it to the pharmacist. It then goes to verification. So the pharmacist now sees it pop up in their little verification area, which is where they take the bottle that you have counted, they look at it, they look at the pills, They look at the label, they make sure you put the right drug in the right bottle for the right person with the right caps. This is another check. So after the pharmacist approves that this drug is also not interacting with any of their other medications, then it goes to the ready state, which technically means that it's ready for someone to pick it up. Once they print out the receipt and they print out the labels and everything goes in a bag, then it is ready for someone to pick it up. Once the medication is finished and ready and you've got the label on it and everything, there's still one more step, which is post-fill audits. Post-fill audits are the very last check on a prescription before you say, yes, we did it right, we did everything right, we got the doctor right, we got the drug right, we got the quantity right, we got the refills right, we got the directions right, everything is right on this medication and it is okay to give to this person. Post-fill audits is very important because it is the last check before we say that we have done this correctly. You can find so many things that could be wrong, such as a drug strength being wrong, or the wrong drug completely, or the wrong doctor, the wrong number of refills. Alright, so let's talk about customer service. I know you're looking forward to it. There are many times that people get very angry in the pharmacy. I have never had someone be so mean to me before I started working in the pharmacy. People will get very mad over prices, very mad over having to wait, very mad over being confused, such as a prior authorization, and they don't realize all 9 steps that we go through to get something ready. So I can't tell you how many times I've had someone say, why don't you just slap a label on the box? Because you want it to go through your insurance, because you don't want it to interact with one of your other drugs, because you want us to make sure that you're not allergic to anything in this drug. That is why I can't slap a label on the box. I mean, if you really push it, yes, you could probably get a prescription done in 5 minutes or less. However, in all reality, trying to do that with how many steps it has to go through is very difficult. Whenever a customer is angry with me, I tend to try to explain what's going on. But mostly, I want to know why they're angry. I know it's very difficult for some people to be nice when someone is being incredibly rude to you, but over the years, I've learned that it is so much better to just kill them with kindness. The kinder you are, first off, the more angry they get, which is very odd to me because when I'm being incredibly nice to you, I don't understand why you're getting even more angry. But at the point where I'm being incredibly nice, if it ever falls back on me, I'm going to tell them exactly what I said. A good tip. Don't make up an excuse. Let's say you told someone that it's going to be 10 minutes and it really takes you 15 minutes because you get super busy and you're the only technician there and there's one pharmacist and the pharmacist didn't know that you had a waiter, so you didn't get to put that prescription in until minute 10 out of 15. Then the patient's very angry at you and they, are like, you said it would be 10 minutes. You said it would be 10 minutes, but it took you 15 minutes to get it ready. Instead of coming up with an excuse, say something like, I am so sorry that it took us so long, but it's ready now, so let's go ahead and get you finished. Something like that comes across a lot better than you making an excuse. Before we got a bigger pharmacy, we had one register. One. That's it. Nothing else. We didn't have a drive-through. We didn't have another cash register. We didn't have another computer. We didn't have another printer. We had one cash register. And I had a patient one time come in to get some pain medication filled for her husband who had just had a surgery. She was incredibly nice to start off with, and I had a line going. There was actually another technician there, and the pharmacist finished her medication and yelled at the woman, hey, your medication is ready, we'll go ahead and get you next. Well, I was in the middle of checking someone out, in the middle of a transaction, and the woman walks up to the counter, and I told her, I'll be with you in just a second. Could you please step behind her and I will get you next. She proceeded to stand at the register and yell at me and say, I must be from the north because I have no manners. I must be from the north because I'm an awful person. She proceeded to say rather nasty things to me, to the point where I started crying at the register and I had to ask the other technician to come and take over for me because I couldn't deal with it anymore. It got that bad, which that is one of the few times that I have actually cried at work. I don't generally let things get to me anymore. I just kind of brush it off and say, hey, it's okay. You have a great day. Later. But that one really got to me. I do find that the kinder you are, the better it is. If anything ever comes back on me, I can tell my company exactly what I say, which is, have a great day. I'm very sorry. I say a lot of, do you still want to get this? I do my best to keep it positive. If I can't keep it positive, then I just stay quiet. That's what I do. What is working in a pharmacy good for? First off, it helps me with nursing school because pharmacology is a lot easier now that I know some of the medications and I know how insurance works and I know how a pharmacy works. It's also going to help me in my future career because I will not be telling people to go straight there from their doctor's office. Oh yeah, it'll be ready. No, you don't know that. The pharmacy could have a 2-hour wait right now because they could be incredibly backed up. You have no idea. Also, working in a pharmacy is great for learning the medications. You get to learn so much. Every medication has a sort of like a guide that you can look up. So if you get bored and there's nothing to do at work that day because you already finished everything for the day and you finished everything for the next day, you can always look up medications that you don't remember the names, or look up like gabapentin to see what it is. Look up to see what side effects it has and see what mechanism of action it has and what brand name it goes by. Being a pharmacy technician has also helped me conquer one of my greatest flaws as a teenager, which is answering phones. I hated talking on the phone as a teenager. Hated it so much. But when I entered the pharmacy, that is one of the things that you have to do as a pharmacy technician. You have to answer the phone. There's no way around it. I was incredibly nervous to answer the phone. The way that I overcame that was I would just tell myself, you know what, just pick up the phone, ask what they need help with, and if they have something that's too difficult for me to figure out how to do in the 30 seconds that I'm on the phone with them, put them on hold, ask someone. That is by far the easiest way to gain confidence in the pharmacy for sure, is answering the phone, and it's a great way to learn how to do everything. You answer the phone. If they have a question that you can't figure out how to answer right away, you put them on hold, and then you ask someone how you can find the answer for them. One of the most important things I think that I will be taking with me as a nurse is documenting from the pharmacy. I have learned how to document very well in the pharmacy. Whenever a patient accuses me of something or they ask for a certain medication to be run through a certain type of insurance instead of their mainstream insurance, I put a note and I say, this patient told me to put this under Express Scripts. And then if the patient comes in later and they say, I wanted that on a discount card, someone can look at the note that I put in there and see that I talked with them and they said they wanted Express Scripts. That covers me. So there are many situations in which that is helpful. Thank you so much for watching. I really enjoy being a pharmacy technician. And if you have any more questions about pharmacy technician or anything like that, let me know in the comments. If you are a pharmacy technician or if you know someone who is, leave me a comment. And also like this video and subscribe and hit that little bell icon so you'll get notified whenever I upload. I'd really appreciate it. Bye guys! I have been a pharmacy technician. Stop it! Stop! Needed to get the state background check and fingerprinting done. Hi, kitty. Are you joining me? Meow. I can't. I can't with you, kitty. And stop it. Stop it. I'm gonna lose it. I'm gonna lose it. I'm gonna lose it. Okay. I just totally lost my train of thought.